I'm Rod Duff, your host.
And I'm producer Barbie.
And together,
we bring you our podcast,
Insights and Straight Talk. And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. Oh my goodness, what Bernard, if he's nice to me, he doesn't have to tell all you folks that I made him sit around for 15 minutes as I had a technical glitch that was that video right there for some reason. Welcome. Hey, how are you guys doing today? Really love that you're here. Looks like we got a couple people on early, sort of. And we've got a really exciting guest, really exciting subject. Hold on a second. I'm going to bring you in right now because I forgot the nard too hard, Bernard. And so, I didn't want to stumble and stutter around here. So, you are the CEO and creator, right, of WAMM Marketing?
Yes, sir. You got it, man. Yeah. CEO, the founder, the everything.
If it moves, you know it. Anything that happens, right? I know how that feels, man.
Exactly, man.
So you market for and have studios for musicians, which I love, as everybody here knows. Barbie's very musical, comes from a musical family, and you and I already talked about my mom. So if we drift into that, I ain't going to stop you. And also, CEOs, business owners, people who are marketing managers that need that, because marketing is way different now today. Sales, marketing, all that, because of the AI that's coming, because of the stuff that's moving society ahead at a much faster pace than ever before. And we don't even know how fast it's going to go, because AI kind of builds on itself. 5 years ago, I don't think anybody heard, except certain people, anything about this. 2-3 years ago, we were probably, hey, that AI started showing up. 5 years from now, it's going to be different. And thanks everybody for showing up here. I apologize for originally being late. Just made the introduction to Nard Too Hard, my man, and let's talk about it. How'd this all get going? I mean, there's more than just CEO of WAMM and you're building on your brand there, Nard Too Hard. You and I have kind of chatted back and forth out there in social media, which is how things have got to be done now, because that's the marketing change. I grew up in a time when you sent emails and you called people, left messages, and you eventually got to be able to do a little bit more stuff, but basically knocking on doors. That doesn't work anymore for two reasons. One, it's nowhere near efficient. And two, that's not how the generations that's taking over management operates or thinks, right?
That's a fact, man. That's a fact. So, where did this all come from? So I always tell people, this all started by mistake. This was never the goal.
It's a great way to start.
Yeah, this was never the dream. So when I started out, doing what I'm doing, right? This all originated from music. So how I got started into marketing and, the business world, I was trying to learn how to market my music. That's it. I wanted to be the biggest star in the world, but to be that star, there is a system, there is a method, there's a formula on how that is done. So I was on the hunt for that formula, but it's something about me. When I get into something, I don't know how to stop. I'm very addicted to I don't know. I just don't stop. When I learn something, I like it. I just take it all the way. So basically, as a music artist, me and my partner, C-Town, we had this group called New School Classmates. We was a rap group, and we're doing everything that a music group can do. We're performing at venues. We're, you know, dropping albums, mixtapes. We're doing music videos. We're, you know, just pushing it out there to the world. We're traveling, doing shows. We're doing everything that you think is right. But as I'm looking at our social profile compared to our peers that we want to be like, there was a discrepancy. They got millions of views, millions of followers, and we
How
have.
long ago? How long ago was this that you're talking about right now?
Great question. This was 07, 08.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
along that way, you figured out, hey, we got to make a shift here.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. So I would say that process. So we started in like 07, 08, but that thought, that light bulb, it went off in probably about 2011. So around that time, I remember seeing a video. Yeah. I remember seeing a video online, and it was saying for you to be, you know, successful in music, you got to get where it's popping at. So I'm like, okay, well, at the time, I used to live in a city called Crestview, Florida, a small city by Panama City, Pensacola.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, the closest place to me is Atlanta. So Atlanta, Georgia. So we ended up moving to Atlanta. And this is when I was able to see the other side of the music business. I learned two things. The first thing was I learned the facade, the smoky mirrors. You know, what you see on camera isn't what it really is, right? That's the first thing I learned. The second thing I learned was the business, the marketing. So this is when I started to learn the marketing aspect. I was looking for a music marketing school because I just wanted to learn how to market my music. But at the time, it didn't exist.
I was going to say there probably wasn't one.
Yeah, it didn't exist. As far as a school that teaches music marketing, you had Berkeley and you had like other music schools, but they didn't teach that curriculum. So I ended up going to DeVry University to learn marketing as a broad scope, you know, and then that's pretty much where everything got started. That's when I learned marketing, like the foundation, you know.
Yeah. And, you know, DeVry started this different direction of how education is to be done. You know, the traditional old school stuff, like you said, they got stuff, but it's not the right mix. There's now a lot of them. One of my sons started his career that way too, where you take that and you learn specifically what you want to learn, and that the diversity of classrooms is according to what is needed, and it's really a great program. So you started there, you got that going. Hey, Adam, thank you very much. I think Adam is also screwing with me here. How do you decide between YouTube ads and TikTok ads? Is that a good question, or what's your? I'm not even into ads yet. I'm trying to get there.
That's an amazing question. Great
Thanks,
question, Adam. So as far as how do you decide between YouTube ads and TikTok ads for new artists, it really just depends, because there's no right and wrong. It's all testing, right? Because YouTube ads can be highly successful for artists, and TikTok ads can be highly successful for artists. I would say, as a new artist, let's determine, like, let's say on YouTube, they got like 50 subscribers, 100 subscribers, but on TikTok, they have 500 followers or 1,000 followers. They already have more of an audience on TikTok. Well, that makes sense to go ahead and focus on TikTok, right? Versus if you had a bigger organic following already on YouTube, I would say focus on YouTube, right? So now when you are running ads, because organic and advertising work together, because you use advertising to drive the traffic in, but once they come in, your organic content is like the review of your, you know, your brand, right? So
okay,
there for the ads to be effective.
Okay, so really, like you said, it's kind of where I'm, and most, if not every new digital creator goes through, because it's like any other. You sell differently, you advertise differently, but like any other business, you got to do the research and figure out, like you said, what's popping, what's happening now, and what you can get attention with on a platform that you have more of an established following, the most established. Is it cost-wise? How does that work? And does it, not exactly, but how does that work? And why wouldn't you focus on both? Or is it too costly for new to do that, to pick up those ads?
No, that's a great question. So it's all based on budget, right? Because each platform does have its own costs. And then also you want to make sure, because it's not necessarily if you're a new artist, it's more so if the budget aligns, right? Because you could be a new artist, you can be a new artist and have a big enough budget to go wide on multiple platforms, but you can spend tens of thousands of dollars in ads on one platform and still not reach everybody on the platform. So it's like, I would say focus on building your brand on one platform. Try to be the authority there before you spread yourself too thin. Now, this is advertising. As far as organic content, you want to create a profile everywhere and try to post organic content everywhere. That doesn't cost anything. But as far as spending advertising dollars, try to be effective on one platform. And once you maximize there, then you spread yourself to others.
That's a great plan. And I did the exact opposite, but there's a correction coming, my friend. But I'm finding out I'm doing a lot of things the exact opposite I should be doing them. And hopefully that's not slowing us down too much here. So what's the biggest, speaking of mistakes, thank you, Ali. What's the biggest mistake that people make? And I think you kind of alluded to it there, and just kind of using the shotgun blast approach versus, building your business like a brick and mortar business, same thing, step by step. What's the biggest mistake that you make in getting digital ads?
Got you. Yeah, great question, Ali. So, and this goes across the board, whether, business owner, content creator, like, whatever. So that's one mistake. Another mistake that a lot of business owners and content creators make is they don't do enough testing across the ads, right? The creatives.
Describe that. What does that look like? Testing.
Got you. So whenever you create an ad, so there's 3 different levels, no matter if it's YouTube, if it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. The biggest thing is to simplify it. It's all the same, just different names, right? Different platforms. Yeah. Everything has 3 levels. You got a campaign. Inside of your campaign, you have an ad group. And then inside of the ad group, you have ads. So the ads are the things that when you're scrolling on social media and you're seeing these, funny videos, or you're seeing someone saying, hey, sign up for my, XYZ, whatever that may be. That's the ad, right? When it says sponsored at the top and whatever is showing you, that's the ad. Well, one of the biggest mistakes that I see inside of those ads is they don't test enough different ads. So for example, let's say you create content and you create that ad that you see that says sponsored. Well, when you create it and post it as an ad, you're going to get in front of people. But the thing about it is the data comes back. So let's just say, what does the data say? So let's say you are a small business owner. Let's just say a moving company, right? I'm a moving company and I'm trying to generate leads. So based on the ad that you have, you're going to have a certain amount of clicks, and then you're going to have a click-through rate. Out of the people that seen the ad, how many people clicked on the ad to go to the website? After that, you're going to have a cost per lead. Out of the people that seen the ad, they clicked through the website, how many of those people signed up to try to inquire for your services. So let's say out of the math, your cost per lead is just say $30, right? Cost per lead. Okay, cool. Well, if you just stuck with those results with that one ad, your cost per lead is going to be $30. Is that okay? We don't know because you didn't test another one. So now let's say I create another ad. Let's say the first one was
same
like
platform. Same platform, side by side. Gotcha.
So let's just say TikTok, because since we talk about TikTok, for example, let's say we use the video. So now we're going to create a whole different piece of content, video, different setting, different hook, everything. We test this ad. Now I get more clicks with this ad, and my cost per click, or no, my click-through rate is higher, and my cost per lead is lower. Now my cost per lead is $15 per lead, right? So now my leads are cheaper. But I wouldn't have never discovered that if I didn't keep testing. So testing is everything. I would say test as many. The businesses that go major, like I'm talking about, like make a fortune off ads, they test hundreds of ads.
Oh yeah.
Hundreds.
Yeah. And you mean same process you just talked about, same platform, because between platform and platform, an ad is taken differently. Like LinkedIn is different than TikTok and how you word the ad, right? And this kind of goes right into what you're talking about. We're starting to get a little bit behind. Sorry, guys. We'll catch up to you here. How do you track your ROI in that? And for musicians, but really, like you said, it goes for everybody that is doing that. And how do you track that ROI? By what you just said, I'm more or less assuming.
Yeah, great question, Anita. Great question. So,
Anita,
how do you track your ROI? So this goes across every platform. So as far as for YouTube, so it really depends the objective. So on ROI, as far as the return on investment. So if we're talking about return on investment as far as conversions for, let's say, subscribers or views, versus, okay, I'm trying to sell a digital product. Let's say I'm trying to sell my music, or let's say I'm trying to sell merch on my website. All of these things require a different setup. So it all comes down to utilizing tracking devices, right? So in the YouTube world, it's pretty much called your tracking codes. So if I had a website and I'm trying to sell merch, I'm trying to sell tickets to a show, and I'm trying to run ads and track, the return on investment. Well, on your website, you can put what is called a Google tag on the back of your website. So you apply a Google tag on your website and you connect that tag to your YouTube ad campaign. So inside of your dashboard, you'll be able to literally see, okay, my campaign cost me $500, but also it shows that I made $1,000 in sales, and it'll show you right on your dashboard. It'll show you your cost per acquisition.
You're right on your dashboard on your website.
Oh no!
Just by this Google. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, right on your dashboard as far as the advertising platform. So when you're running ads for YouTube, you utilize a platform called Google Ads. So Google Ads controls running ads for Google and running ads for YouTube. So in that dashboard, when you create your campaign, you're able to see, how much you spent, how many clicks you got for the campaign, and whether you profited or whether you made a loss.
In the old days, only certain level of corporations. I want to ask you what a good click-through rate is here in a second, but in the old days, only certain people could do research. Now, I mean, you can scrape off of LinkedIn and the other apps and get full reports on what people are all about and what they're doing. And the analytics, I was never I was never an analytics guy. I'm a salesperson by trade in the machinery business. I know that doesn't really qualify for here, but there's more to me than that. But in the motivation in getting to a point takes time, and it's energy, and you have to have energy constantly going. Two questions. Well, three. Click rate. How do you keep going when it's challenging? Because in the beginning, especially, there's a lot of no's. We got a lot of questions on here, and I don't see something like that. So how do you stay motivated? And then how do you build a loyal fan base? And this really, because views are great, kind of, sort of, for advertising and hope, but that's not going to make you monetize anything, right?
Yeah. I mean, it can, but no, that shouldn't be the focus, right? So as far as click-through rate, click-through rate varies across platforms, So a standard click-through rate, I would say anywhere from like 2% to 5%, but it varies, right? Because I can say, a good click-through rate on 2% is good for a music artist that is trying to promote their video versus a music artist trying to promote their website to sell merch and, sell tickets. Or, for a business owner that's trying to generate leads, right? That click-through rate may be 8 to 9%. But then if we transfer to Facebook ads, then the click-through rate, we see good click-through rates as high as 11%, 13%.
Wow.
But it just depends as far as, the platform, the goal, the conversion goal, because not everyone is trying to create a return on investment on the off the ad itself. They're trying to generate leads. And then as far as the return on investment is done on the back end, as far as, the sales calls and stuff like that. And then you have people that are trying to do brand awareness campaigns, so it just depends. Now, as far as how do you get going when the going gets tough, right? Like,
exactly.
How do you continue to go? So the one thing to do when you're looking at marketing, you should look at marketing as testing. That's all it is, right? So you got to go. It's like you're a scientist, right? Like you're trying to, create the new formula for this, this medicine to cure this, disease or whatever it is. Well, you're going to be testing a lot of different combinations,
Better
so with marketing, it's the same thing. Now, if you're dealing with an experienced marketer, or if, you're trying to be an experienced marketer, that plays the role as far as how much testing you're going to be doing, but you're still going to be testing, So when, let's just say, okay, I'm launching a campaign out the blue. I know, okay, this is the niche that I want to do. Let's just say, okay, I'm a music artist trying to sell show tickets. I'm throwing it out there. I create the campaign. I create the ads. I'm all excited. Okay, I launch it and I got no sales. Okay, so do I give up or, do I pivot? The first pivot is, okay, I know it's testing. So I need to create more ads, right? Because we can't get emotionally attached to the results, because if the results are bad, numbers are numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they say, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. They don't care, So focus on the numbers. So if the numbers say I'm getting impressions and I'm getting clicks, but no one is doing what I want them to do as far as sign up for something or buy something, then I have to fix the ad, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I need to fix the website, or I need to fix the offer. Because if they see in the ad and they click on the ad, then that's good. But when they get to the place that they landed and nothing happens after that, okay, I got to fix this. So is it something about my website that's unprofessional? Is it the color? Is it the, you know, something on the website, or is it the offer? Is the offer not as attractive as I can make it? Is the price too high? Or let's not change the price, let's change the offer. Let's make it more valuable, you know? So that would be the first thing. But let's say, okay, now I'm getting sales, but my cost per, you know, acquisition is still high. I'm not profiting yet. Okay, well, maybe I need to change my target settings. Maybe I need to work the campaign, because now we're diving into another piece of data. Are the people that I'm reaching are the people that are right for the product? Am I diving into the audience properly how I should? So it's a lot of different things that play a role, but the biggest thing is, as long as you have the budget, you got to be able to test, and you got to have the budget to test, because testing costs, you know, until you figure it out, the winning formula. Once you figure out the winning formula, you win. Now you can print money, you know. So
I'm ready. Sign me up. Couple things here before we go on to the biggest bang, which you kind of already have touched on. Thank you, Bradley. We'll get to you. So what you were just going through in that discussion, in that description, what is the important things of social media. And if you don't know social media very well, I know certain things and not other things. How important, so click-through rate is when they're going on to your offer. They're going on to the website or whatever. Impressions are when they land, they see that thing, but don't click through. Or they, no, it's more than that, isn't it? It's like they make a comment or like it or something. And then, and that process, what do those two things mean? And like you said, if you're getting those, something's going good. But if your offer isn't getting a lot of numbers. But let's go back to impressions and how do you coordinate that or read from that? What do you read from that?
I got you. So impressions are how many times your ad is being shown, right? So let's say, you know, YouTube, right? So on YouTube, I'm scrolling on the home feed. I see video options. And in the midst of that, I see a video ad, right? We've all seen ads on YouTube. So let's just start with the in-feed ads. So these are called discovery ads. So let's just say I'm on my phone, I go on YouTube, and I'm on like the, you know, like the Explorer page, you know, we'll call it the Explorer page, but it's like the home page, to where it's showing me all the, you know, the channels I'm subscribed to, and then recommended videos. In the midst of that, you'll see ads. So it's shown to me, regardless if I click it or not, it's shown to me. That's an impression. So you're guaranteed going to get impressions. That's easy. Now, if you're not getting impressions, then that's a different problem that we need to dissect, right? But that's impressions. So now click-through rate. So let's say I got 100 impressions. But then out of those 100 impressions, I get 10 people to click the ad, right?
Ooh,
so that means I have a 10% click-through rate, because the conversion, right, from the impressions to the people that actually clicked it, you know? So now 10% is pretty good, you know, but that's the example, right? So now they click on the ad. Now, where do they land? So if it's a website, they land on my website. So once they're on my website, what happens? So now, if my website is set up for, you know, let's say leads, I'm trying to get people to sign up for, you know, I think someone asked about, you know, how to build like a loyal fan base. This is a great question. So let's say I'm working on trying to build my fan base. So I'm not necessarily focused on trying to make money right now. I just want to build my audience, and I'm willing to spend money to build my audience. So
hang on a second. Hang on one second. New terminology. I'm an old guy. website used to mean one thing. Now it means a bunch of different things, or more than it used to mean. When you say website, I think of my www.com and then build all around that, send all the traffic to that. But websites are all the social medias are each called websites or platforms the same, or is there a difference in website today than 10 years ago, that term?
So there is a difference, but as far as like the actual term website, I'm thinking the same thing you thinking. www.
Okay.
Right.
And that's where you want to drive. Okay. Yeah. Now I'm with you. Go ahead. I just wanted to get that clear, man.
I got you. So yeah, so taking them to the website, once they're on the website, because most people, regardless of, we're on social media and we got all these social media pages, we always want to have our own website, right? That's the foundation. So you always want to have your own platform that you can control. So let's say the goal on your website is you want people to sign up for your community, right? You got a free community, of all your fans, all your customers, and you're trying to get them to join this community. That way you can foster them. You know what I'm saying? You can, build this community to where later, anytime you have an offer, you can bring it to the community. Because when you build community, it builds trust. This is the most important thing to building the audience, building a loyal fan base is trust. But let's say I get someone to click the sign up button on my website. So now, based off of the impressions, the clicks, and then I actual sign up, now this is a cost per lead. Well, let's just call them a lead. So if they sign up on the form on the website, this is a lead, right? Because that don't mean they might have signed up for the community, but we don't know if they're actually going to be active in it or, join it, but they signed up. So, but this is that's a lead. So now I got my cost per lead. So what is that cost per lead? It just depends on the amount of impressions, the clicks, and then based on the clicks, let's say you got 10 clicks, and then out of that 10, you got one person that signed up. Now I got a 10% cost per lead, or $10 cost per lead, depending on how much my clicks cost. Let's say my clicks cost $1. So every click costs $1, and it took me 10 clicks to get that lead. I got a $10 cost per lead.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what those numbers mean. It's so many other numbers, but those are like the basics.
Yeah, those are huge. Now, when you're talking about, and like I said before, I used to never, I'm a salesperson and I know about trends, and you as you get better, you start to study them. We used to have only so much, but now I'm digging on all this data you can pull up in real time. You could literally, like the stock market, they're the first ones, right? You could see, live, right? Exactly what's happening there. And you can, if you're doing what you're saying, testing and following that, you've got all the information at your hands. Might have to upgrade a couple of those here or there, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it's like, you hit on something, man. It's like the data that you can pull up is out this world. Like, I love one a good platform to have as a business owner, as a creator, is Google Analytics. Google Analytics is a free tool, and you're able to see in real time what's going on. So if I log into Google Analytics, this is why you want to have a platform that you can control, a website, because inside your Google Analytics, you can see how many people are on your website in real time. You can see where they're located. You can see what pages they're on, how long did they stay on this page, right? You can see, what pages got the most clicks, which pages are not performing as well. You can see what platform they came from. So let's say you're running.
So it tracks all of them. It gives you a big board kind of thing. This is what you're doing with this. Yeah, that's awesome. Sorry, go ahead. That's cool.
You're good. Yeah, let's say you running content on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It'll tell you, okay, you got 5 people that came from your website from YouTube, 10 people came to your website from TikTok. You know, it'll give you all of this data from each platform, and then it'll give you, you know, previous data, last week data versus this week. You know, that way you can see your performance as far as how well, you know, everything is performing. That way, you know, okay, well, I need to increase the input, you know, to beat last week, you know. So yeah, the data is outrageous.
It's the driver, first of all. And now that we have so much, everybody's doing it. So you have to do it. You have to pay attention in real time now, because you're either moving ahead or falling behind, you know, depending on how much things go through and how much you put into the effort. But it's awesome stuff. I think I have that Google Analytics downloaded, but I don't know that I've worked with it. I'm going to start now, because I look at each one individually. But you're right. If you could bring all that into one thing, what an efficient way to build on your business. I think we've gone through a couple of these. I've been ignoring the comments here. And by the way, when that glitch happened, I signed out of the other and I picked up another StreamYard. So all that great preparation we did, could you, when you get a chance, throw back into the private chat so I can copy it over? I was just looking for it. I was going to do it. Sorry about that. So we're here, right? I mean, your biggest bang, and it depends on where you're. So you want to go out in the beginning to all social medias, you know, LinkedIn, maybe not all of them, but the ones that work, Twitter, and things that work within your realm. But and you're testing all these. Is there any one platform by this is hard, because it's not an answer, by genre or by what you're trying to do, and more importantly, as importantly, sorry about that, Bradley. As importantly, describe what a community is. Is that like a school thing?
Yeah. So as far as community, basically, and this is so important, you know, no matter what you're doing, whether you're a music artist, whether you're a business owner, community is everything, you know,
Yes.
Because the internet nowadays has created a lot of distrust, you know. So it's like, how do you really build the trust of the people, you know? And it's like having them join a community of other like-minded people, because if they're in a community with other people, and it's like, if they're there, then it's like it's something good going on here, because no one's going to be here if it's not good, right? So, and it's like they also get the opportunity to, you know, be in your presence in a way, you know. So it's like you're nurturing these people, you know, you're nurturing long lasting relationships. So there's platforms that you can do it on, like school. School is a good platform.
What do you use? You use a different one.
So we use a couple, honestly. So we use Discord. We use Telegram. I'm actually going to transition to school soon, because I love just the foundation of it, you know.
It's awesome.
But you know, we've been, you know, so used to Discord and Telegram. But those are like the best platforms. Now, as far as like which platforms for you to like really get the best bang, you know, for your buck, you know, so it really depends. So I'm gonna give you 2 ways to think about this. When it comes to the foundation, right? The foundation, you want to go to the platform where your brand is the strongest. You know, so it's like that's really the foundation. Wherever your brand is the strongest, that's where you're gonna see the most bang for your buck, because your brand is more established there, you know. But something to think about. So in the future, there's going to become a new platform. Right now, we got TikTok, that's the newest platform. But eventually, it may be 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now, there's going to be a new social media platform. And when you see this new social media platform, I advise you to start building a brand on there ASAP. Here's why. The way social media works is whenever it's new, they're incentivizing the users. So new platforms get higher visibility, you get better reach, you're able to go, as they say, viral way easier and way faster in the new stages. Like when TikTok was fairly new, a lot of people was like killing it on TikTok. Music artists was going viral from their sounds. People creating dances and competitions to their songs. Business owners creating these advertisements that's going viral and just taking their business through the roof. But that can still happen. But TikTok is not new anymore. And every day there's new people that sign up to the platform. That means the algorithm has to change.
You're fighting against that. You're fighting against that. From the time you're a toddler, so to speak, on, you're always fighting against the newborns, right?
Exactly.
Just to play around with some words. This is a good question. And I think the strategy is the same, but maybe a service business versus a musician, there's different people are drawn to different platforms. That would really be the only change you would do, except for whatever your marketing message is. Is that kind of, Branson? Thank you very much. I didn't mean to slap you earlier. What do you think? What?
Yeah. So great question, Branson. So marketing in general is all the same, right? But based off of who you're speaking to, the message will always change, right? The messaging is really the foundation of this, right? Because let's just say I'm creating an ad for a service-based business. Let's say a cleaning company, right? We got a cleaning company, and then I am a music artist. So there's different ways that you have to approach your audience. So for a service-based business, for a cleaning company, it's very, very easy to sell out the gate, right? You can easily just sell to your audience. So meaning I, as a person that wants cleaning services, I can be scrolling and seeing an ad and it says, hey, cleaning services, special $5.99, clean all, right? Like, okay, man, that's a good deal. Let me call them because I really need my house clean, right? So I can easily take advantage of that offer, that message that was presented to me. Versus as a music artist, you can't just out the gate, I don't know who you are, I've never heard of you, and you can't say, hey, buy my album for $9.99. Who are you? Right? Like music is a little different. You have to go through stages. You have to do brand awareness first, and then you have to sell on the back end. Now, back to the service-based business, brand is still important, right? Because there's different levels. You have an established brand cleaning company versus a up and coming just started cleaning company. The brand is going to be able to sell faster, have a higher return on investment because the brand is established. The trust is there. They recognize the brand when they see the offer, so they know they trust that, versus they see an offer, but they never heard of the company. They might be a little iffy first, right? So now it's like, okay, brand awareness will be important for that company, at the same time while they're selling. Because when it comes to like a service-based business, there's less attachment to the brand versus an artist. People fall in love with the person, the artist, more than they fall in love with what they actually provide. So it's just different.
Yeah, no, big time. I mean, music, a musician, you always say that, notes, music, words all put together or individually, especially notes, they touch you. I mean, there's a vibration that your body picks up, and it's the easiest thing to become emotionally attached to. What you're talking about there, right? You don't necessarily get emotionally attached to a cleaning company. The branding's still important, but you're just going out to do a thing. When you're looking for music, you're looking for something deep, personal, deep, right?
Exactly.
I think Ariel, sorry about that. I think Ariel is reaching back a little bit, a couple of comments ago that we were talking about. how do you keep up with the constant changes in algorithms? And that's going to even happen more. I mean, I would assume as AI comes, that's one thing that automatically will adjust, just like open AI. You know, you ask it a question and it pulls all the information in and gives you an action or an answer. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, the algorithm for a new person, right? That's driving in there. So what about the changes that are coming? And when you said a new media is coming out, are you just saying that because from your experience, you know, that's how it's going, or do you know something else?
Yeah, so great question, Ariel. So as far as the new media side, it's like when you look at history, it's like it's already it always happens. I remember MySpace, right? Before MySpace, what we had instant messenger. All right, we got
True. Okay.
MySpace, right? We go from MySpace to in the MySpace days, I couldn't even think of another platform. And then comes Facebook, right? And then MySpace, we don't where is MySpace, right? So we
Is
got
it even
Facebook.
open anymore?
I think last time
I don't know.
they did have like this switch, like the platform switch to like I don't know. But that's the
They're trying to
problem, right?
find a new place.
Yeah, like a
They're
new lane, like a new
Everybody
like
used it. Everybody
every
used it. I met producer Barbie off of that, and now you're right. It's Facebook.
wow.
So
That's
that
awesome.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's Facebook. But Facebook was smart because they started to buy up the social media companies as they came, because then came Instagram. They tried to buy
Yeah.
TikTok, but they got stopped. So
Yeah.
then before TikTok, we had Snapchat, we had Twitter. So, and then we had it's another platform, I can't think of it, but there is, based on history, there's somebody somewhere cooking up
Working.
the new thing, right? And
Yeah.
it's just up to us to just stay on top of it. But as far as how do you keep up with the ad algorithm, so it's almost impossible to stay ahead of it, right? Because there it's like the algorithm is an algorithm of its own. You do have people that play a role on how the algorithm changes, right? Because the Google algorithm has changed tremendously so many different times. And it's changed by Google for better quality, right? Because Google's algorithm has changed to, beat the advertisers that are trying to beat the system. Because Google is built on trust. So if we search something on Google, like top ways to fix my tire, right? I'm looking for the most trusted source to provide me with the information on how to fix my tire. So
I've
if
seen
I
that.
have all of these SEO hackers creating these articles to rank high, but the information isn't properly correct, but it's structured in a way for them to rank number one, that doesn't help Google and it doesn't help us. If it doesn't help us, it doesn't help Google. So they changed the algorithm for the better of the people, right? But it hurts the advertisers in a way, right? So it's pretty difficult to keep up with it in real time. But I'm gonna tell you this: AI has allowed us to really stay ahead of the curve. So what I would advise you to do, if you're really deep into ads and you're trying to stay on top of the algorithm, I would say every month or every other month, have a conversation with ChatGPT, and you can have it and prompt it to act as your, algorithm consultant. And you can say, "Hey,
Yeah.
ChatGPT, it's whatever year it is, whatever month, has there has there been any ad or any algorithm updates on this?" Get specific. Don't just say algorithm updates. Say, has there been any algorithm updates for ads on the TikTok platform in the past couple
Oh,
months?
yeah.
Right. And it'll
Absolutely.
give you
Yep.
all the information, and then ask it for each platform. Be like, hey, what about Facebook? What about this? If there's something that be direct, be like, hey, Chat GPT, I've heard about this. I heard about this algorithm update. I heard a bunch of people talking about it, but you didn't mention it. Have you heard anything about it? The more you feed it, the more it'll be able to work for you and provide you with accurate information.
Yeah, that's called training it, right? You're training your AI. I'm using one now that I needed to bring on because we're doing some more automation that, ChatGPT not open, but free is an excellent tool. But you can do so much with these applications. It's freaking amazing, man, how the world is changing right before our eyes. I mean, my great aunt, maybe, she lived to be 104 years old. And when she was a baby, she went across the West into Washington, across in a covered wagon. Before she died, she saw a space shuttle. We're moving way faster than that. 100 years from now, you're not going to recognize this place, right? Exactly. You got to get into it, man. You got to get going. What do you suggest for podcasters to boost? One thing I learned, and is this true? I a couple of episodes ago, I had a great woman, a LinkedIn expert. She doesn't work for him, but she is the LinkedIn person, and she said, don't post with video. It'll drive you down into nothing. And that's all I've been doing. I've been just like shotgunning stuff out there. So as you learn things, like suggestions for boosting your audience, there's a lot of things out there. And I think once you start down the automation road, there's plugins that just make it easier and easier and easier. I'm finding that out now. And what they do, something happens over here, it turns around and does this action, and all you do is tell it what to do, just like you're saying.
Yeah, that's a fact. So as far as, for podcasters, so as far as for LinkedIn, so I think he was speaking on LinkedIn because when it comes to video, when it comes to like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok is video based, but video gets the biggest reach and most engagement. So
that's what I figure.
On video is good. I'm not like a LinkedIn expert, so that's definitely interesting to know. But as far as like what I would recommend, so it really depends. As far as like, it kind of falls into like the business and the artist, like which platform do you have like the biggest audience currently? So
you started with that. That's the big deal.
Yeah, that's like the foundation.
Start from 70 instead of 0, right?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
for podcasts, I know, as far as the platforms that you guys broadcast on, to my knowledge, I know, you got YouTube, you got, Apple, you got Spotify. I'm sure there's, a couple more, but let's start there. So let's say, of course, YouTube, let's say you have an audience on YouTube. Well, YouTube ads is definitely going to be a great way. But here's the thing. I'm going to give you guys something very important. If you're trying to promote a podcast on YouTube, it's a certain way that you want to do it. Because with
Talk to me. Come on. You just hit my hot spot. You just hit my glory point. Okay, so I am now not going to read anybody's, and don't interrupt us. We're having a conversation. So leave us alone for a couple of minutes. That's what I want to know. I just woke up. I was already up and I woke up.
So
go for it, Bernard.
When it comes to podcasts on YouTube, so when a music artist and a podcast is 100% different. Music artists, their content is like 2-3 minutes long most of the time. For a podcast, you're talking a minimum of an hour, some 2 hours, some even 3 hours. So the length of the content is different. And when it comes to YouTube, you performing on YouTube for podcasts, your average view duration and your average watch hour time is vital. So it's vital for your organic
to doing
reach.
it, to get an organic reach on say YouTube, right? That's what you're saying.
Yes, yes. So let's say your average view duration, let's say your average content duration is like, let's say 2 hours. So it's like 120 minutes. And based on the users that are watching your content, the average that they actually watch out of that 120 minutes, let's say it's 90 minutes, right? So you have an average view duration of 90 minutes. So that number is good. Out of 120, you got 90. So that helps you in the algorithm, right? So you want to either maintain that or you want it to rise. So what you want to do when you run ads is you don't want to run ads directly to your actual content, right? So like, let's just say this episode in particular, when this episode is released to the public and it's on YouTube, you don't want to run ads directly on this video. What you want to do is you want to run ads to clips of this video, and the clip should be unlisted. So here's why. Whenever you have a video,
dude, whoa, hold on, I gotta catch up. My mind is, I'm like, okay, whoa. Okay, so what do you mean by that?
Okay, so whenever you upload a YouTube video, you can either set it as private, public, or unlisted, right?
That I know, but why? Why do you unlist it? Yeah.
So as the content is unlisted, anything that happens to this video that's unlisted, the data doesn't affect the channel analytics. So here's why this is important. When you're running ads to a piece of content, you're bringing in cold traffic, you're bringing in warm traffic, but the cold traffic, you're bringing in a lot of people because you're testing, right? In the beginning stages, especially, you're going to bring in people that's going to watch it for 3 seconds and they bounce off. So your average view duration of this unlisted video, it may be a couple minutes. So imagine you average in, let's say you put that video public. This average view duration of 3 minutes is going to average in with 90 minutes. Guess what's going to happen? It's going to bring down your average view duration and it's going to affect your organic reach of your channel. So you want to keep that video unlisted. This is like a shield. So you send ads to this clip, right? It's like a highlight of the episode. So,
but it's unlisted.
But it's unlisted. But you're going to have a call to action to where they can click the watch more to where it takes them to the full episode. So if they click watch more, that means that that means that they like what they see and they want to watch more. This is warm audiences now, right? But you weeded out the cold traffic because the cold traffic didn't click watch more. They clip skip. So the unlisted video protects you, right? So anything that happens on this unlisted video as far as channel data doesn't affect the channel data. It only affects the unlisted as long as you leave it unlisted. If you change it public, boom, it affects the channel. So just keep it unlisted.
Ever? Like what if you just forever leave it unlisted?
Yeah, leave it. You can delete it if you want. You know, you're only using it to run ads on. So that's one strategy. Another strategy is
before you go on the other strategy. I'm soaking all this in, man. I'm thirsty as hell, and you're quenching some stuff. A lot of this I'm doing okay, but you know, just put yourself back that 20 years ago when you started rolling. You're adding a flashlight to a dark room for me. So it's coming along, but there it is. So what went off on that rant and I totally forgot what the last thing you were saying. You were going to go to another thing. Remind me, save me here so I don't sound good.
I got you. So as far as we got the unlisted, that's the strategy as far as to drive traffic to episodes, right?
I know
another thing that you can do to grow subscribers it's another campaign. It's called a subscriber growth campaign. You know, if you create a Google Ads account, you can create a subscriber growth campaign. But same strategy. You can grow subscribers with an unlisted video. So how it works is you create the campaign, you use an unlisted video. You can use, let's say you have a highlight reel, like a lot of YouTube channels, like, you know, when you go to your YouTube channel, you got the video, it's like the highlight of the channel. You can re-upload that as unlisted and run a subscriber growth campaign to that and use it as an ad. People are going to have the ability to subscribe to the channel from that ad. It's going to have the ad, it's going to say subscribe. They can subscribe right there. If they subscribe, now they have an opportunity to look at what's else on the channel. Now, this is considered warm audience, right?
Yeah.
So now this does, again, it doesn't affect the channel. If people click on the ad, but they don't subscribe, let's say you have a super low click-through rate on this ad, who cares? Because it's unlisted. It doesn't affect the channel. So you can do two things. You can do a subscriber growth campaign, and then you can do a campaign to drive brand awareness to new episodes.
Wow, man, that's next level, man. That I really appreciate you making me very depressed right now and realize how far I've got to go, how much more I'm getting a little cocky, with this whole thing. I'm 62 and now I'm like answering questions to people my age that boom, I would have never thought about asking. But every time you say something, mister, I hear you got a long way to go, Rod. Long way to go till you get any good at this. So I welcome the future. So how important, I think this is actually very important on anything you put out, but when you're doing ads, how important is the video quality? I mean, you're advertising a product. You want that product to be attractive, right?
So that's actually a good question. So ironically, every platform is different when it comes to video quality. So YouTube, of course, you definitely want to have high quality content, especially when you run ads. Well, 1080 is good, 1080 and above, right? I would say 1080 and above.
Okay, so you're saying 1080 and above, and up to this point, I've just been told. I used to stream on OSB, and you do, the more quality you have, the more bandwidth it takes. So you're saying more than 1080 is good? I mean, it's a different scenario anyway. So go ahead. Sorry.
So this is what I'll say. So outside of the actual, specs, I'm gonna use two examples. You got YouTube, and then you got Facebook, Instagram. YouTube, as far as like ads, paid ads, they work better when you're using high quality content, right? So high quality content works. So I wouldn't necessarily, rank it in, 1080, 4K, but at least I would say at least 1080. That's what I would consider minimum high quality when it comes to ads, or as far as video quality. Now, when it comes to Facebook and Instagram, we've noticed that ads made with your phone that looks not high quality work better than high quality ads.
Because of the age of the people?
And here's why. I think that it's because people feel like they're less being sold to, versus when you have a high quality ad, it's like, okay, you're selling me now, so it's like, it feels more like, more comforting with a just, okay, I'm doing it with my phone. I'm just, so that's what we've noticed.
Wow. That's again, thanks a lot. I mean, here I am, another step behind. They say the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. I think I've gotten to like 6 or 7 maybe steps. So this show really has done a lot to teach me, and because it's a resource for learning things like what you're talking. I've been, let's see, in May of last year, I wrote a book. I had a series of things. I had a motorcycle accident, broke every bone in this side of my body. I had a stroke. I had some corporate embezzlement stuff going on. So I was fighting a lot of battles. And when I need to, my mind needs to like write. So I wrote a book. And when I did that, all of a sudden I was querying it, and all of a sudden people are like, what's your platform? What's your platform? So the platform, this is everything. And so I started this platform in, well, we did our first live on Constitution Day last year in September. And so learning a heck of a lot about this. And thank goodness my son is Brandon. He's been on the show a couple of times. He is 39 years old, and he's actually kind of taught me some things. And then from there, this kind of stuff, you just got to put in the effort to listen. So you're saying, but when I thought of quality, I thought of like, you know, the picture is, but what you're talking about is the way it's produced, is what you're saying about quality in his question there, right?
You got it. You got it.
Oh, hey, Chris thinks you're on fire today. Chris, thank you. Yeah, man, I love it. Here's your information. I got that back. Did we get everything we needed? We still got a few questions here, and you're not in a hurry, so we'll slide around. But everything good there, right?
Yeah, that's the information. You know, so we got 2 websites. So just depending, it looks like we got a mixture of people. You know, first website we got WAMM Promotions. So if you're a music artist, or you know, if you have a podcast, that channel, that website link would be great. If you're a business owner, you know, WAMM Marketing would be better. You know, or you know, if you do both, you can hit both, either or. But you'll be able to, you know, speak to me, speak to our team, and you know, learn more about us.
Yeah, that's huge. And you haven't obviously, as we started to kind of wind down here a little bit, now the questions are coming back on. So we're gonna maybe a little bounce in here for a second or so. Mm-hmm. But what you're talking about, the thing that you've developed, the thing that is your mission, you know, your job, your all those good things, is obviously become successful. You have a huge following, right? I mean, it's just the things you said, right?
Yeah, you know, it's like all of these things is things that we have applied. And the thing about me, you know, of course, like I started as a music artist, later developed a marketing agency, but throughout this process, I developed a lot of things outside of that, you know. So before or in the process of creating a marketing agency, you know, I was trying to learn how to record my own music, because I was trying to keep that expense in house. I'm like, we spent about $10,000 at a recording studio. I need to keep this expense low. How can I do it? I got equipment. I started recording myself at home. But then I'm like, man, I could turn this into a business. So then we create a recording studio. I started it in my kitchen. I had a studio in my kitchen. I posted ads on Craigslist. I posted ads on Google. This was before I really started to learn the Google ads. And then, you know, I started getting clientele. So fast forward, now we have, you know, a facility in Atlanta, Georgia. That's the headquarters, WAMM Studios. We got 2 recording studio rooms, photography, videography rooms, you know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Then we got a location in Florida. And then also throughout this process, I also own moving companies. So one of my friends, he used to, yeah. So he used to work.
Talk about a pivot there.
Yeah, like this is deeper than just music, right? Because now I'm an actual business owner as well. So I understand the ins and outs of businesses, right? So because it's like, okay, if I know how to grow a business, it makes sense to acquire a business. So one of my friends, he used to work for 2 Men in a Truck. So he knows the moving industry.
Dude, you don't own 2 Men in a Truck.
Oh, no.
Okay. Go ahead. Because I was going to be like, shit, no kidding. Go ahead. Sorry.
Hey, Yeah, I wish. But
Yeah,
he used to work for
they're big.
yeah, they're huge. But he used to work for Two Men in the Truck. And that leads to another thing. I got something else for you because that's major, right? But he used to work for Two Men in the Truck, so he learned the moving industry. And I'm like, hey, I
Right.
know marketing. Let's start a moving company. You know, I'm feeling like Hercules. I'm like, man, I can start anything, right? So we built the moving
baby, bring
company.
it on. Wow.
So I regret doing it because like I really understood like, okay, it doesn't matter, you know, what business you try to start. When you're trying to build it, at times you're going to have to get in the field, you know? So it was times that I actually had to move because we didn't have workers showing up. So I'm like, now I don't have to do it now. But in the beginning stages, it started like that. Regardless of how good the marketing was, you're going to have to work in your business sometimes in the beginning if you don't have the infrastructure and enough people. So, but we was able to grow that. It's still running. CNB Moving Company's been running for like 5 years. But back to the Two Men in a Truck. So here's something that I noticed. This goes back to brand. This is when I realized how important brand is. All this marketing stuff is cool, right? The ultimate key to success in business is brand building. Here's why. If you go on Google, so on Google Ads, there's a section, it's called Keyword Planner. You're able to look up keywords and it shows you how often that is searched on a monthly basis.
Yep.
So when we started the moving company, I'm doing a competitive analyst. I'm dissecting the industry, the surrounding areas. Who's our competition? Two Men in a Truck. That word get searched more than moving companies.
Wow.
Here's another thing.
Yeah, that's big.
Planet Fitness gets searched more than gyms.
Really? Yeah, they are an excellent marketing company. Absolutely. You're right. Yeah, I get that. Wow.
When you think of supermarkets, who do you think of?
Bonds, Alpha Beta. What's that one that just came over from Germany? And one other one. And that's also has to do with your location too, right?
It does. What state are you located in?
Chicago.
Okay.
I'm from California, but we live in this is Chicago.
Okay. So this isn't based on data, but this is just how the brand affected me. When I think of supermarkets, I think of Walmart. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Walmart.
I never thought about that. Food, because they have food too, right?
Yeah, they're huge. But the first two are based on data. So that shows you how strong brand building is. You focus on building your brand because when your brand is strong, when people think of the service or the product, if you can get them to think about you over the actual product itself, you win every time.
You know what a good example of that is? Tissue, Kleenex. You don't ever go for a tissue, you get a Kleenex. So yeah, I get that, man. That's huge. There did sneak in another question here, if you don't mind. Great insights, Bernard. How do you balance local SEO versus paid ads?
Great question.
And then
So
we'll get a wrap up.
I got you. So SEO and ads is very similar to, so SEO for social media is very similar to your organic content, right? But as far as local SEO for your actual website for your company, so this is what we always recommend. It depends on where you are as a business owner. So let's say you're a brand new business owner and you're just getting rolling. So we recommend doing paid ads out the gate because paid ads will get you instant results. Like you can cut on an ad today and start getting leads and sales tomorrow based on the type of business. So if you're a local business, most of the time you're selling services, some products, but you know, you can cut on ads and start getting, leads and sales immediately. Now, SEO, if the budget is there, because SEO is a long game, because SEO is not going to give you an initial investment. SEO can take anywhere from 6 to 12 months for it to actually start working, sometimes 18 months, depending on the competition. So if your budget is there, then SEO is important, or SEO should be done. But if the budget isn't there, wait till the budget is, able to handle the budget of SEO, then you implement it. Now, also, there's differences because he said a key term, local. You got local SEO, and then you have SEO. Local SEO, that plays more into the role of the Google map. Let's say I search, let's see, restaurants near me. If I search restaurants near me, then it's going to show me in the map pack on Google Maps, it's going to show me a list of restaurants that are kind of close. And a lot of that is categorized on based off of where you are. If this one is close to me, it's going to show this one a little higher, but also there's different elements that play a role. Your reviews, that plays a role. Your description, your bio, your images, all of that is SEO, Then you have SEO as far as like when you get past the Google map. Let's say I'm not searching near me. I'm just searching Kleenex. I need to buy Kleenex. So it's going to show me, of course, the Kleenex product, but also it's going to show me what stores are housing the Kleenexes, because I can either order it online on their website, I'm sure, or I can go to Amazon, I can go to Walmart, but they're all fighting for that number one slot as far as SEO to rank high for that product, so that takes 6 to 12 months. Local SEO, that can change pretty fast. That can change 30 days, 90 days, if you're applying the right strategies. But yeah, ads first and SEO as fast as you're able to implement it.
All right. So final question for me. They know I'm talking, so a bunch of them jumped off. I got to quit that, man. SEO. So I built several websites and had people build several websites for me. And the big term is SEO fortified or whatever that word is. What is SEO?
So SEO stands for search engine optimization. So basically the goal is, as far as in the Google world, right? Because that's where SEO is really, really important. And basically it's structuring your website to where it meets all the little requirements. It's like acting as a teacher's pet, right? You want to do all the things right. So, the teacher, treat you good or whatnot. So you're doing all the things right that Google wants. That way Google ranks your website high. So all the things that consist inside of the SEO strategy guide, that's what needs to get done to do that. Now that's the whole, world in itself, but you have on-page SEO and then you have off-page SEO. So on-page are things that happen on the website. So that's like, your title, your subtitles,
Gotcha.
your content, the images, how the image is titled, those are kind of like the basic things as far as SEO. On-page SEO and then off-page SEO are things that are happening off-page. So all of your information that's on your website, that needs to be the exact same information that is put on Facebook, Instagram. You got LinkedIn. You got let's see, Yelp. You got all of these platforms. You want to create a presence across Google on every platform and make sure it's the same. So that's off-page SEO. Then you got guest posting and link building. You get links. You get websites that have high domain authority, and you get them to create a post on your website, on their website. And in that post, they're putting a link, your website link that links back to your website. That's a backlink. So that off-page SEO. So that's like the technical side. So it's all of these things that I just named, but in a strategy, a tactical way to where it makes sense and help your website rank high.
That's huge, man. That is huge. So that makes a lot of sense. And something I've always known existed, because people told me I build them this way, and it became the thing and all you're talking about. But it's great to hear what it's actually doing, and that's fascinating how that builds out. This has been a great show, Mr. Nard Too Hard. We're you got any final thoughts, or is there anything that hold on, let me bring you up closer to me. All right, now I can see you. Anything we haven't crossed that you wanted to, or any questions that you wanted to revisit? Final word. What you got?
Final word is a quote from Dan Kennedy. Dan Kennedy is one of the greatest marketers of all time, and he's always said, the business that is willing to spend to acquire a customer wins. The business that is willing to spend the most to acquire a customer wins. You know, so as a business owner, as an artist, you know, you gotta be willing to, risk the dollar to generate a lead, generate a client, generate a fan, but it's not always in money. It's also in sweat equity, because these same things that you can do in advertising, you can, go into a person's DM, a person's, inbox, and say, hey, I love what you're doing. Check my music out. Or, hey, I see that you own a home. I own a cleaning company, or I own a moving company. Hey, here's a coupon. That didn't cost anything but time. But how much time are you willing to spend? Are you willing to spend more than your competition? So in life, that's what it takes: time and money, or more of one thing, or So yeah, that's the last words. Close out.
All right, man. And for me, it's more sweat equity than purchasing. We're just starting to get going here. Can't wait till it kind of takes off on us here. And following guys like you, Bernard, has been a fantastic experience, because I'm like twice your age and 2,000 times behind you on this subject, but I ain't stopping. Wave to everybody, would you?
Nah, you doing
Say
amazing.
bye to all your fans, my friend. Go ahead. What?
Yeah. Oh no, you're doing amazing, man. You have a great platform, great show. You have an audience that is in tune, so it's only up from here. Consistency is everything, regardless of the dollar, regardless of the sweat equity, the consistency of all of those things is everything. So yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, man. You're in the right direction.
All right, brother. Thank you so much, Bernard. It's been great. So, wow, they're building back up. I'm impressed. So, thank you so much. I mean, there's so many things. I think I was telling you earlier, producer Barbie and I and some people that are on the team are working on a AI for aging Americans. We mentioned that early on. So, for you, it's a natural, because you've grown up in it. I like to say that the baby boomers didn't, but everybody else almost kind of were born with a phone in their hands. So we're trying to create a community, and maybe every day have a coffee break with your community and chit chat about things, and then bring people together for these kind of classes where we can focus and build a program for people who really, it's one thing to be taught AI and automation, all that. But like I said, it's a whole different thing when somebody who talks like you, not the digital conversation is completely different, as we heard a bunch of it on there today. So I'm glad I was able to grab you with that, because that's basics, and it's important. And a lot of people, I think about back in the 80s or 90s when the internet came on, computers, the world shifted. People my age had no freaking clue, and they were separated from society. A lot of depression because they were cut out, not on purpose or anything, but they didn't know how to live in that world. So, it always becomes a challenge when you're learning new things. Like we said before, if you're constantly winning and never have a setback, you're not growing. So, which either way is your choice. It's cool. I'm Rod Duff. This is Insights and Straight Talk on with producer Barbie, and man, everybody give Bernard a big hand. That was incredible. I'll come back and talk to you in a second there, my friend. But like I was saying, with that, I'm out.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here, and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out.